and then turn me on to chapel. The number 3 in there for chapel, the top list. We're gonna get there. Okay, good. You know, yeah, excellent. Go on out and see if that's right. I kind of feel like today these news reporters, they're out. Right now. They're down in where Phoenix, and the studio here talks to them and says, "Hey, what do you think, Dale?" And Dale's standing there looking at the camera, waiting, and then they finally hear the words and then they respond. So I'm waiting for Brian to tell me if I'm actually doing something. Oh, he just gave me a thumbs up. We're really flying without a parachute today because normally David Neeson is here and he runs all this stuff. And when he's not here, he trained Sarah Williamsburg. Believe it or not, Sarah can run this thing. The problem is Sarah's not here today. David's not here today. Brian came back from vacation, so he's only half here today. And it's, me, I stand up here. So I'm going to first tell you that today, Waukesha County, it's concerning me a little bit. Today we're 0.9% positivity. And over the last week, we have gone up and down a little bit and up and up and up, and we're at 0.9 now. Pretty soon we're not going to be that nice blue county that we want to be. Things are letting loose a little bit too fast, I think. Positivity or vaccinated in the state, 5.5%. We're not doing well. And part of the repercussions of that is a renewed mask vigilance, shall I say, from CMS and DHS saying, hey, when people are out of their home, out of their house, out of their room, they need to be wearing masks. And here in the nursing home, the way we interpret that is you are out of your house, out of your room when you are out of the household. So when people are moving from the household to chapel, from the household to therapy, from the household to the great room, the advice is wear a mask. The other thing is, please, when you know you are having guests, visitors, please tell them that the mask mandate is in effect for our campus here on the south side. We need them to have masks. And if you have grandchildren or great grandchildren coming, young children, they also need to be masked. And if both people are not vaccinated or all people are not vaccinated who come to see you, you are limited to 2 visitors and they do need to be masked. So they're looking at this much more stringently for the nursing homes now because our whole state has not reached the number that CDC feels is safe for vaccine here. A note, even though Sarah's not here today, she is telling me what I should be saying. Next Wednesday, July 14th, Pamela Howland will be doing a concert here in the chapel, and we have a group of folks that will be up here to witness her performance live. We are going to be putting it out on Channel 900 and streaming it. So on our Facebook page and our YouTube page, you will be able to watch Pamela Howland's concert. And, back when her folks, Bud and Doris, lived here with us, Bud and Doris both lived in the tower. And then later, Doris moved to the nursing home, and Bud lived in the tower for quite a while. And Pamela would stop by, and Bud would say, "Oh, she's been in this country and coming back." I really didn't realize what a world-renowned pianist she was. But since Bud and Doris have passed on, Pamela has been gracious enough to come back here and do a few concerts for us. So we are very fortunate to have this. And if you can tune in at 1:30 next Wednesday, July 14th, you will be very, very pleased. It's a concert of her own creating. It's called Music for New Hope, and some Chopin, some Pamela Howland, and some Beatles. So there will be a pretty eclectic mix here. And just like a lot of performers during the pandemic, Pamela didn't do anything. She was just at home putting this together. So she is doing us a great favor to be here. Chris, is there anything that you want me to tell people about volunteerism here or forgotten treasures or? Okay. Okay. I walked through Forgotten Treasures the other morning, and I stopped in there and dropped some stuff off this morning again. And I got to tell you, if you don't go there weekly, you're missing something because it changes weekly. The look of the place changes, and that is due to generous donations of folks, and they can reinvent the place. But I think if you have not been out to our Forgotten Treasures recently, get out there and take a look at it. Emily, I think we talked about masks and that kind of thing. Anything else from the nursing home or assisted living? I know I see workmen out in the memory care courtyard. I see Applewood drywall out there today. I'm hoping they're sealing up the walls and getting things further along with phase one. Once we get that done and we can get the activity room done, we can move on to some of the other phases. So that is kind of an exciting time. Brian, I know you are not probably even settled in after vacation. He tells me he can't really sit back in the chair because he went rafting, and you go rafting and it's kind of hard on your body after 39.
I just wanted do we want to address the resident concerns about having people from the community walking through our campus again?
Yes,
And
I think we do.
the police, but
Yep. We have heard that there are people are once again coming on the campus and kind of using our sidewalks as their own exercise trail, if you will. We will do something about signage, letting them know that these are private sidewalks. We don't want bicycles and skateboards and folks from off the campus going around our lakefront because it is for our residents. Yesterday, we had a great number of residents from the nursing home over there with their families, and I think that's great. It's wonderful, but we don't want them to run into hassles with dogs or bikes or skateboards or things like that. And I know that we need to post it before we can take any further measures, but we'll get some signage put together and posted at both ends of the campus, especially on the north side there. No other comments or, okay, that's good. That means the phone didn't ring. I'll get my, okay, I've got to see if I can change the camera here. There we go. That's good. And Brian, if you could hit those lights behind your head there. Okay, let's see what we can do here. We're gonna just talk about the Service League a little bit this morning. And the Service League, and that's a pretty small picture. And I'll see if I can get it a little bit larger here. I'm gonna be goofing around here a little bit. There we go. And I can't tell you who this person is. They don't give me that information, but they're decorating Christmas trees in the Rosencrantz mansion. And remember, Rosencrantz was purchased in 39, and for the first several years, all of the folks did their own did their own thing, really. It was kind of a retirement home. But as people aged in place, they needed help. So in 1951, this article says the Service League was formed, and that's really not true. The auxiliary was formed in 1951, and it was called the auxiliary for a number of years, and it provided things that the daily rate for the folks who lived in the Rosencrantz mansion could not afford. And as it went on, it provided more and more things. Here it says vans, pianos, chapel furnishings, beauty shop, pontoon boats, patio furniture, many, many of those things. This is a clip from an anniversary flyer that went out in 2001. And it says, in 1951, a small group of women from Dr. Martin Luther Church in Oconomowoc banded together into an auxiliary, which subsequently developed into an organization of similar groups in Lutheran churches of the area. In 1973, the name Service League, or Service League of Volunteers, was adopted, and the group presently numbers over 300 members. I'm not sure that I could ask Chris right now how many members she has, because we're still looking. Many of our volunteers in the year of COVID have said, I'm done. I've aged out of this, and I will remember you and my prayers. I just cannot do the volunteering anymore. But as we go forward, the group of volunteers that became known as the Service League did things like activities. When we needed help with that, they would come into the Rosencrantz mansion and do activities. This is a picture of volunteers working with the residents at Knollward across the lake. We operated Knollward for over 25 years, and I think next week we're going to talk about Knollward a little bit and talk about the history of Knollward and how that helped us out. But whoop, went a little too fast. The Service League has always been very instrumental in helping out Shorehaven. And here is a clipping from 1978, and it says $10,000 is Service League gift. And this is just a picture of the Service League officers at that time. And they have been historically pledging all kinds of money. In 1974, we finished the addition of private rooms onto the old Shorehaven, and they had pledged $100,000 toward that. This is a check, for $10,000 to diminish that pledge, and each time the Service League has pledged some money, they have always exceeded that goal. The volunteers themselves pushed Shorehaven into mobile meals. The volunteers got together and said, we can deliver these meals if you can make them, if you can put them together. So in 1973, the volunteers started delivering mobile meals, and we had a big fleet of volunteers to do that up until 2015. And in 2015, volunteerism changed a little bit, and it was a very difficult time to get volunteers to deliver mobile meals. And it turned out that many times volunteers could not come, and we were using staff time and sending staff members out to deliver the meals. And sometimes they would be late. Volunteers just weren't available, and they would be an hour late, and it was causing a little bit of difficulty. So in it might have been 2017, early 2017, I think we dissolved the mobile meals program simply because we could not find volunteers to man the vehicles and deliver the meals, and the price was low, so that we could not afford to pay staff or pay people to deliver the meals. the van, it says here, the van is auxiliary gift to Shorehaven and Knollwood. And this van was known as the Knollwood van. When I came, I was told we had a handicap van, and when I came, I was over at Lake Terrace, and so I said, "Well, we can use the van for Lake Terrace show." Oh no, that's the Knollwood van, and it stays at Knollwood. They bring people over to Shorehaven, but it's the Knollwood van, and this is giving the keys to Mr. Last, who is the chairman of the board of directors at this time. And the van was turned over brand new, but it didn't have a lift. So that was the next thing they did. They installed a lift in this van so that it could be handicapped accessible. This worked out really well. And after, I don't remember what's next here. Oh yeah, I'm gonna just talk about the van a little bit first. When I suggested that perhaps the Lake Terrace people could use it and we could go shopping and things like that, I was told no, that's the Service League gift to Knollwood. It's the Knollwood van. So what I did is the obvious thing. I went and asked the Service League if they could buy a bus, and they did. Amazingly, in 19, I believe it was 1990, 89 or 90. The Service League spent $43,000 to buy us a 21 passenger bus. And for a number of years, we used that to transport residents to and from activities. It did not have a lift. It was just a ambulatory bus, but we did a lot of trips and things. But as people got more infirm, it didn't take long, and we went back to the Service League again and said it would be very nice if you would buy us another bus with a lift on, and so the Service League did. And we've gone through many iterations of buses. The Service League has always come to our aid when we had needs. Service League attire has changed over the years. Now these gals, these are young volunteers. They wore smocks that designated them as volunteers. Our regular day-to-day volunteers wore, I'm going to call it a salmon-colored smock, and you knew they were around the building because they had their smocks on, and in the lounge area, they had them all hung up there so we could spot volunteers a mile away. And they've done all the things that they currently do. For many years, our volunteers operated the beauty shop. It was manned by volunteers, and the thing that changed that was state guidance that said we could no longer have volunteers doing that kind of thing with our residents. And the main volunteer at that time was Catherine, and she consented to become an employee. Up until that time, all of the permanents and all of the supplies were paid for by the volunteers. So when that changed, well, volunteerism changed, and then we had to decide that we were going to take that on as an expense in the nursing home. And so the volunteers changed a little bit of their focus at that time, and they started to buy us equipment. They bought us wheelchairs and Broda chairs, and they even one year, I remember, bought us mattresses because we needed to replace a number of mattresses. Back in those days, we were 242 beds. So when we needed things like that, it took, more than just 5 or 10 to make a difference. So the Service League has always been doing fundraising. If you go out to the piers and you're out on boats, the oldest boat we have is the Manitou. That was purchased by the Service League many years ago, perhaps 30 years ago. And the Tri-Toon pontoon that we have was also purchased by the Service League so that our residents can go out and enjoy the lake. the slide I show you here is our just talking about all the volunteer opportunities the Service League has on the campus, but their biggest opportunity is in the resale shop, in our Forgotten Treasures. And they actually make almost all of their money here. They have the fall fair that they still do. They have the angel tree, but the bulk of their fundraising happens in the Forgotten Treasures. And I know that I speak for the board when I say to the folks on the campus who move in and move in too much and donate to the Forgotten Treasures, it really helps life on the campus. I think everyone in the past 3-4 years has enjoyed the pavilion. The Service League paid for this pavilion $342,000. And people say, how could it cost that much money to build a pavilion? Well, you have to understand that this pavilion has water and sewer and electrical, and all of that needed to be taken down there from the street. And so we did a lot of improvements there. There are 2 handicapped accessible bathrooms out here, a kitchen area, Wi-Fi, outdoor TV, a very nice sound system, and the building is very attractive. In 2020, we really didn't use it at all. This year, it's been used quite heavily, and there are a lot of reservations going forward into the fall. So we're very thankful to the Service League for that. The aquariums that we see over here are funded by the Service League. They pay a monthly subscription to have them cleaned and the fish and things like that. The fact that we can watch movies on Channel 900 is courtesy of the Service League. The Service League pays for a movie subscription license for us so that we can broadcast those on the campus here. And I know as I cover these things, there are Service League members and former members here saying, yeah, but Dale, you're not telling about this and this and this. I cannot possibly remember everything that Service League has done for us because many times we will mention that we need something and the Service League will just spring into action. The elliptical machine on 2nd floor that many of our residents are utilizing as part of their therapy was a gift from the Service League. We have a new ambulation device that we will be getting toward the end of the year that Service League is raising money for. When they see a need, they want to help with that need. So those of you in the Service League, thank you. Those of you who donate to the Forgotten Treasures, thank you. The volunteers that make life easier on the campus, assisting with bingo and chapel and getting folks to and from the beauty shop, thank you. The Service League, there's much more I could put together on the Service League, but I am restricted by time. And if I run too much past, people will not get to their next enjoyable things today. So with hearing no calls, next week we're going to talk about how we got Knollwood and eventually Shorehaven Tower. So we're going to take a look at a couple of those things. So I thank you all, and I look forward to talking to you next Thursday.